For those of you who may not know me, I'm Reverend Diane Dugan, a retired minister who is a social worker for Thrive Behavioral Healthcare in Warwick, Rhode Island. I have recently become a member of Woodridge, and I'm really happy about that. It's nice to find a church home now that I've moved back to Rhode Island from Massachusetts. I was thrilled when Scott asked me to preach today for you. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. The COVID-19 pandemic has uprooted our entire lives and our way of being. It's given us time away from our busy lives. I read you the letter of Paul to the Ephesians. Imagine getting this letter from Paul to you at this time. Because Paul is praying that you will be given, quote, the power through his Spirit for your hidden self to grow strong, so that Christ may live in your hearts through faith. And when that happens, you will be planted and built on love. So I will ask you today, who is your hidden self that needs to grow, and how? How can you use this time during the pandemic to come to know Jesus in a deeper and more profound way? If I asked you, who are you? What would you say? Take a moment and think about it. Did you first think of yourself as a child of God? Because that's exactly what and who you are. You are a beloved child of God. And when you truly internalize this, when you truly understand this, then you will be changed forever. It changes everything. You might wonder, how is this going to change if I really and truly know that I am God's child? In order to apply this to our lives, I'm going to introduce you very briefly to Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek is a notable author and speaker. He's done numerous TED Talks. He has a YouTube channel. And what he did in his talk on Start With Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Action, is he noticed a pattern throughout history of those people who were successful, who were inspiring leaders. And what he realized was that they think, they act, and they communicate in a similar pattern. And it speaks to how they are able to inspire others. Why is this important? Because we are children of God. Our job is to spread the good news and to grow in our Christian faith and to grow as the church and the community and fellowship that is Woodridge Congregational. Now, when Sinek does his talk, he gives a lot of ideas and examples as varied as marketing companies, how Orville and Wilbur Wright developed the airplane, and he even talks about Martin Luther King Jr. I'm not going to give you all that because we'll be here forever. We could do this in numerous meditations. What I'm going to do today is focus on Sinek's concept of communications called the Golden Circle. For those of you who received our materials in advance, you will have a copy of this. You may want to have that ready. If you notice the outside circle, the blue circle, that is what? The green circle is how. and the purple circle is why. And what Sinek says, that everyone, 100% of us know what we do. Now, some of us will know how we do it, but very few of us know why we do what we do. My point for you is that you are a child of God. That is your why. That's why it's so important for you to understand that. And so Sinek goes on to talk, and he gives a great example about several computer companies. But he talks specifically about Apple and other computer companies as well. And what he says is that you'll see how they communicate. You'll find some of your advertisements where they say, "We make a great computer." They're talking about their what. They know what they make. They make a great computer. And the way we make it, the how, is we make it user-friendly. We make it beautifully designed and simple to use. Do you want to buy a computer? Now, Apple doesn't do that. And those great leaders that inspire do not do it that way as well. They communicate from the why to the what. So what Apple will say to you is, we believe that in everything we do, we want to challenge the status quo and be innovative. And how we do that is we make beautifully designed computers that are simple to use and user-friendly. We make great computers. Would you like to buy one? What happens when, and I saw them do that. I saw the company president do that when they rolled out the iPhone 10. And he was on Good Morning America. And I watched him talk about the why of what they wanted to do, why they always want to be cutting edge, why they want to make the gizmos a little bit more technical for us, a little bit more advanced. And when you do that, you attract like-minded individuals. Why is that important? Because as a church and individually, when we know our why, as opposed to just our what and our how, people are inspired. You may be inviting someone here to visit you and come with you to Woodridge once we can get back together again. And you'd probably say, what we do, we have worship, and we have meetings, and we have food cupboards, and we clothe the poor, and we do a lot of stuff here. You're probably pretty good at saying what we do here at Woodridge. And some of you might know how you do it. Now I'm new to this church, so I just know some snippets. But I know from what Scott told me that the reason that the worship service in the order of worship in the beginning is fairly simplified. It has music that's very accessible, very familiar, easy tunes. It's in the program. And that he has responsive call to worship so that the children can access the service, because the children are in the service in the beginning. How many of you knew that that's what was happening in worship? When you can explain the what and the how, you only get so far, because there are a lot of churches out there, and they do pretty much what we do. Some of them do it better, some of it don't do it quite as well, some of them have more praise music, some of them have different spins on them. Each church is different. And what happens when people come in, they kind of decide on the what and the how, whether they want to stay. That doesn't fill their need for God. That doesn't inspire them unless they find out who Jesus is, unless you can begin to communicate who Jesus is for you and how, because of Jesus, you don't only volunteer in soccer, or you don't only volunteer at concerts or the movie theater or on school trips or wherever you volunteer. You don't just volunteer. You become a disciple. When I am understanding myself as a child of God, think about it. I'm going to be a lot more careful how I speak. I'm going to be a lot more careful how I interact with people. That's the why. And when you begin to find out what your why is, and you can begin to share that with other people, they will be attracted to you. And not necessarily to you, but to the God who inspires you. Paul is asking the Ephesians to grow strong, to be with God. Why? To grow so that so that they will be planted and built on love. Think of it. If you are planted and built on love, what do you bring to this world? And how do people respond to you? Paul ends his note to the Ephesians with, "Glory be to him whose power, working in us, can do infinitely more than we can ask or imagine." Once you allow once you allow Jesus and accept that you are a beloved child of God, you will do things you can't possibly imagine. Your lives will change. People will be drawn to you. They'll be drawn to this church. They'll be drawn to the world. And you know what? It's not about you. It's about God. And about God touching their hearts so that they can come to know that they are children of God.